Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The B.S. Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S. Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the B.S. Report, a Thanksgiving week edition. Taping this on a Tuesday. Last B.S. Report of the week, unfortunately. On the Subway Fresh Take hotline, as always, our friend Cousin Sal. What's happening?
What's happening, buddy? Boy, Hen should be mad if he heard this report because the energy is way, way low.
Yeah, should I do the intro again?
I don't care.
My energy is low because we hit a 3-team tease on Sunday. We had 2 of them actually, and I tried to middle it last night with Denver plus 15 on a
we had
tease.
A beautiful 3-team teaser, and if you listen to the show, you know that these do not come very often. This is the Halley's Comet of sports wagering for us, hitting a 3-team teaser. And what do we have for the second one? We have the Saints, the Ravens, and the Chargers.
Well, the goal was to team the Ravens and Chargers, which we felt like were locks, and so we split them up, Ravens, Chargers, and then the Saints, and then Ravens, Chargers, and the Pats plus 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they all had to cover.
Right.
Yeah.
And we love the Chargers, and you wanted a middle, and usually we were right. We don't middle, and we get screwed by it, and you try to middle with the Patriots this week, Broncos teaser, which would have gotten you 15 points. And, we'll talk about the Patriots bet in a second, but it seemed good. And you were bragging right away when Denver scored. And I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Might have been a mistake. Denver goes up 7-0, and I emailed you that I was up plus 22 on the bet. And then I went to dinner, and during dinner, you emailed me that it was plus 1, and I knew I was in trouble.
I said, "What is?" This is like we have a pizza oven that hasn't worked in years, and finally we get it. I mean, it's been burning up pizzas that we put in, and finally we get it. It produces a beautiful, bubbly, thin crust, and the cheese is bubbling, and the sauce is just right. And you go and you throw like spoiled cheese whiz on it at the last minute.
I know, but the thing is, if I had it middled.
Yeah.
I think Denver wins the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I control. I really believe this. I think I controlled the outcome of the game.
All right.
And I wasn't mentioning any of the post-game articles or anything.
You went to dinner and everything. You're still controlled? Wow.
By middling. It's amazing, though. It's like, and this is, I think, why people end up in Gamblers Anonymous is because whatever you think is the right thing to do, the opposite happens, and then you switch it. You're like, well, now I'm going to do what I didn't know is do, and then the opposite happens to that, and that's why people go crazy.
Yeah.
I did not watch the San Diego-Denver game because I went to dinner, and then I went to a surprisingly energetic and exciting Clippers-Hornets game. Tell me, were you San Diego just laid the smackdown? Do we believe in this team?
San Diego outscored the Clippers?
No, Clips aren't bad.
No, I know.
But San Diego, they took care of business. In your opinion, you were happy with it?
It was just one of those things where they started rolling. You're right. Like that first drive was weird, and they even said like San Diego's defense wasn't set on a few plays, and John Marino was running for like 7 yards a clip, and like oh my God, San Diego just had off for like 4 weeks or something, and then just not ready to play football, and then they just came alive. Like Phil Rivers, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to; he just seems to get in a groove, and then that's it.
Well, they're 5-5, and I'm now willing to throw him in the MVP argument. Just get to 500, Phil, and then you're in the MVP discussion. But now I think
Phil banged up that team.
Yeah, although I have to say their schedule really has. I mean, they've played 2 good teams. Mm-hmm. So let's not get too excited about them.
You're right.
So I already guessed the Thanksgiving lines because I knew I was going to see him, and I emailed you my guesses.
Right. You sent them ahead of time to me, and well, let's get started. Your Patriots play at the Lions, first game Thursday morning.
Right, and my guess for this was Patriots by 7.5.
All right, I said 7, and it is, as of 5 minutes ago, it's 7. So I get that one.
I thought that it was, we did the opening lines.
Oh, I mean, we always do what it ends up being, right?
Oh, okay.
I have all these written down, updated lines.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I was going to say either 7 or 7.5 because, and to be honest, I don't know what to make of that game because they played this really heated game against their rival that just went back and forth. I mean, and then that game ended at, 7:15 East Coast time on a Sunday night, and they're playing 88 hours later in Detroit.
It does look like a trap. I would not want to lay the 7.
Now, I had Aaron Schatz from FootballOutsiders.com yesterday, and I was talking about trap games, and he went basically ballistic and was like, there's no such thing as trap games.
Yeah, people
they do not exist.
About that. I've heard a debate about this too. Like,
yeah,
it's all what you think, isn't it? What do you mean, no such thing? I swear I've been trapped 40 times this year already. How could it not be a trap?
I just think that it's a logical thing. You just played a really tough team that you had to get up for, and then 2 weeks from now, you have this other big game, and it's like, oh, well, we'll just roll over this team, and then we'll get ready to play the other good team.
Yeah,
it's human nature.
Yeah, of course. And there's lines where like they're 2.5, and they're begging you to take the favorite, and it makes all sense in the world to take the favorite, and then the favorite lays an egg. Like it makes no sense. But I do think Vegas factors in, and I've talked to people who make the lines and stuff. They do kind of factor it in a little bit. The people who like the sharps, right?
They really like seek out the trap games. So I think it's legitimate, and I think this absolutely qualifies as a trap game.
I have to say I enjoyed going back to the Pats Colts game, which I watched with you and Hench and a few Patriots fans. You guys were on the edge of your seats by the end, but it is funny. And when you guys were up 31-14, Pats were up 31-14, you yelled, "I think we got to sit the starters. We play again in 80 hours."
That's not accurate. That's not
come
accurate.
on.
No.
So we play again in 80 hours.
No. That's not.
Very voice.
You're twisting it around,
and
it wasn't a great impersonation either.
You cut me off.
No, it was 28-14. We were driving for the touchdown, and I said, if we score a touchdown and we go up 21, I would pull the starters, and because we play in 80 hours. And then Hench got mad at me, and he said, "No, Manning's in the field. You have to take that back." But it was for the touchdown. I did not feel comfortable up 17. And as Manning immediately went down and cut it to 10, that was why.
Well, I did hear, and then a few minutes later, it was, how do we take our foot off the pedal against the Colts?
I know.
Outrageous.
Yeah, I did. I was very upset, and there was a lot of people in the room, which I didn't like either, because Adam was taping his podcast, and he had the adult film performer, Christy Canyon.
Yeah.
And either coincidentally or not coincidentally, normally we have about, 8 or 9 of our friends and maybe 15 people from downstairs drift up. And this time we had about 60.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it wasn't a coincidence.
Most of them shirtless, salivating, and had nothing to do with football. They couldn't care less. They were listening to iPods.
And I sat in on the podcast because you had to leave and you needed somebody to talk football.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, I'll do the football, and then Christy can come on.
I heard you had 2 minutes.
Well, no, so he decides to start with her right away. So now I'm sitting there with Christy Canyon, one of the legends of the history of the adult film business, and I'm sitting there thinking Adam is gonna just immediately forget that I work for ESPN and a Disney company and start just saying completely inappropriate things.
And you were wrong or right?
And I'm going to get suspended or fired just by being here. And that's all I was thinking about for like 15 minutes. And then the subject turned to something, and I could see a gleam in his eye. And I was like, here he goes. I'm like, Adam, just ask me 2 football questions. I have to get out of here. So I got out of there with no blood on my hands. But
really?
And thank God, because about 10 minutes later, the conversation went into a direction that would have at least been a 1-week suspension for me.
Really? Christy Canyon wasn't breaking down the Jets' improbable comeback win against the Texans?
No, you're not going to believe this, but Adam had some inappropriate questions for her. But I have to say, she was really good on the radio. And Adam and I were talking about it later. She does Playboy Radio, so she's on five days a week basically.
Yeah.
So she has those reps, and I was like, Adam, you should just hire her as a co-host. Like, I don't think you're going to find a better co-host than her.
You think he would get through it? I have heard that about her. She gives great radio.
She does. Well, what's great about Adam is because she went to his high school.
Right.
And he was in love with her when she was like 16. Mm-hmm. And he, famously has a fetish for women who are maybe a little top heavy.
Yeah.
So there was a weird level of respect for him, with him for her, because he's still a little bit in love with her.
Right. And then I bet 40 minutes of disrespect.
No. It was crazy because, normally he just goes in that mode and it doesn't matter who's there. He's just going to do his thing.
Yeah.
But he was actually, really interacting. I was proud of him. Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
It was great. She looked great, and everybody in the room was in love with her. I mean, everybody. People were just staring at her like it was like the Sharon Stone Basic Instinct police interrogation scene where just guys just staring at her. Just Lord knows what they're thinking.
Unbelievable.
Anyway,
Yeah, we
Joe
didn't
Mead.
get her much at my cousin Jimmy's house last year when we went.
No.
Yeah.
Joe Mead.
Yes.
That can all stay in.
Sure.
Didn't say anything bad.
Hey.
She's a legend. She's on the Mount Rushmore.
Joe Mead cares. I love it.
I have to say, though, when we were doing the podcast, at one point, we made eye contact, and I just melted it like a stack of butter.
Really?
Yeah. She's got it. She's got something. I couldn't handle it.
Take out the stack of butter comment because, that could be misconstrued.
All right, let's go to the other Thanksgiving games.
New Orleans at Dallas.
Oh, one more thing about her. Apparently, Christy Canyon, not her real name.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's something else.
It's Christie's at least, right?
I had always thought that. I was like, what a coincidence. She has that name and then ended up in the adult film industry.
Yeah, that's great. That's like Dallas Reigns and Stormfield and the Weathercast. Yeah. All right, New Orleans at Dallas.
Oh, I'm going to hit this one exact.
Well, you don't have to because I was way off. So
New Orleans by 3.5.
Yeah, you did. You got it. I said 5.5.
I felt so confident about that guess.
Yeah, but it should be higher. They're going to win by more.
I don't think so because, as I tweeted on Sunday, Jason Garrett now using the real plays.
Yeah.
He had the fake list of all the fake plays, and now he has the list that he kept in like a safe in his house. And now, I mean,
I know we joked about it last week, and then you went on PTI and you went off even further on it, but
yeah.
The Cowboys don't drive 98 yards, no way, no how, 3 weeks ago. They just don't do it with those plays because you have to get down the field, so you have to throw down the field, and they didn't do that 3 weeks ago. So I don't know what to say. It just angers me. It really does that this team is out of it. And
the one play that really made you mad was right as they were just threatening to pull away, and it was like a 3rd and short or something, and they faked the run to the right, and Kitna did the naked Steve DeBerg bootleg, and it was like, all right, now Jason Garrett's bringing it out. Come on.
Longest run of his career. Unbelievable. I'm not falling for it. I maintain I'm going to be completely negative. It's so much better for me mentally to be that way. So.
Well, I was there, and we were making fun of you for it, but you were kind of secretly calculating whether 9 and 7 could make it by the third quarter of that game. Don't think we didn't notice.
4 conference losses already, though. It's too many. All right, the Thursday night game, the Thanksgiving night game, Cincy at the Jets.
Yeah, I went. I had the Jets by 10 on this one.
Yeah, we both had 10, and it's 9.
Okay.
So we're 2-2, including the ties for the.
Well, I mean that raises the question: who are the other 2 teams in our 3-team teas this week?
Oh boy, you think this is a gimme, huh?
The Bengals are horrendous.
Yeah.
I think they're the 31st team. Panthers clearly 32, but I think Bengals have to be 31 now.
It's
name me a worse team.
I don't know how Marvin Lewis still has a job, but
actually, hold on. Cardinals, Bengals, neutral field. Who are you betting on?
Are you not putting the Panthers in there?
Panthers are the worst. I already gave them the worst. I'm saying for number 31, Cardinals, Bengals, neutral field.
Oh boy, I still say Bengals. I don't know why. I think they could score. At least they could.
Yeah. What about Cardinals, Niners, neutral field?
Well, we're basically getting that Monday night, not on a neutral field, but that's ESPN's game.
All right, so the Bengals are somewhere between 29 and 31.
They're really bad. And you got to figure Ocho and Owens are such family guys. They want to spend Thanksgiving with their loved ones. They don't want to be there. So, but are the Jets becoming hateable now, or is there people rooting for them? Like, if you don't care about them, do you...
I make this case all the time. It would be hypocritical for me to get mad about how lucky they've been. But I think that this was, out of all the garbage wins they've had, this was the worst one because Houston, to have control of that game, but then to let the guy get behind. I just don't understand how Edwards gets behind them when they have no timeouts left, 22 seconds left at midfield, and really all they can do is throw deep. I don't understand how they can throw deep in that situation.
That's awful.
It's really the guy should be fired. You fire the coach at that point.
And let's go back a little to when the Texans had the ball up 1, first and goal. Like, I understand you have to run the ball. You have to make them waste their timeouts. But does it have to be right into the line, right over the tackle, Marion Foster? Like, they know it's coming. Like, where is the bootleg, which you can also keep in bounds, or pitch left or something? Like, you go up 8 there, right? Wait, it would have been 8. Yeah, all right. At least you would have forced the Jets to make a 2-point conversion at the end, which they probably would have made in one in overtime. But it's disgusting.
The play, it should have been second down. You fake the run to the left side. You have the quarterback do the little turn, the pseudo bootleg, and just throw the quick little 3-yard pass to the tight end. And either it goes for a touchdown or it goes for 3 yards, but he's not going to drop it. It's not going to stop the clock. Like, you have to run that play 1 out of the 3 times.
Right. There are safe plays that aren't just bull 2 wedge up the middle. But
the third down play, the Jets had all 11 guys on where the run was. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were like, you're running it, we know you're running it, and we're going to stop it. And they never had a chance. So when it gets that ridiculous, you have to trust
I think they're becoming hateable. I mean, that touchdown dance with Sanchez pretending to be a jumbo jet, it makes me sad at this point.
But you do have to give him credit because the throw to Edwards was fantastic. It was dead on. And then I thought the touchdown throw was great. I mean, it was
great, but I think we're falling into Brett Favre category, which I guess anyone would take, the comparison, but he's just mediocre in the first half and
it's true.
Lousy in the third quarter, and then one big drive at the end.
It's true, and the one thing that worries me as a Patriot fan is the Jets now. I think when you start winning these close games, you start getting the confidence that if it's close in the last 5 minutes or if you're down a score, that you can get it back. And that team seems confident to me now.
I'm excited for that game. That's next Monday night. Both teams will have 11 days off for that game, right?
Right. And you would think that the Pats should take care of business. So, I just think the Bengals on a Thursday night, they're so bummed out by Palmer at this point. He's been bad. He's bad statistically, and he's been much worse than the stats say, and I just don't see how they...
All right, well, let me ask you this, because this bleeds right into Sunday's games. Carolina at Cleveland. If you have Cleveland and the Jets in a suicide pool, who do you take?
Cleveland.
You take Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is... Every year there's a team that is like right around now, like 3-8 or 4-7 or 3-7, and they're so much better than that record.
It might be the best 3-7 team of the millennium, I think.
Well, they really should have beaten the Jets. They gave that game away. They absolutely could have won last week. They gave up the Mojay's screen pass for 80 yards, but they were in that game. They've been in other ones.
They were driving against Pittsburgh to make it close. Yeah.
They played everybody close except one team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Baltimore, they stayed with them. What do you have for a line here?
I'm going to say Cleveland by 9.
All right, that's what I said, and we're low. It's 11.
Yeah, that's the second part of our 3-teamer.
Yeah, I definitely like them. I mean, I'm not falling for it. I know St. Pierre is undefeated on the road as a starter, but I like Cleveland. Minnesota at Washington.
I love Minnesota in this game.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that they just wanted that coach to go, and they packed it in on him. And I think that Leslie Frazier seems to have a lot of respect. And don't discount the whole, that guy's been there for a long time. I just think they're going to try to win him the job.
You know what's funny? They were cheering Fire Childress, right, at the Vikings games, and like a good scout, the Redskins should have seen this ahead of time. They should have sent fans to Minnesota to drown out those chants.
Oh, with Keep Childress?
Yeah, Keep Childress. Yeah. Way to go. chili or whatever they wanted to say, just to keep them there for another week, so they could pound them.
The Redskins, I think the Redskins have broken the record for most times they've either seemed like a playoff team or seemed like their season was going down the tubes.
They are so boring, though, right? I mean, we had that game, well, not featured, but we had our eyes on it, and it seemed like they had the ball 35 plays in overtime, and they didn't even care if they won after a while.
So this is Minnesota at Washington.
Yep.
I'm going to say Washington by 5.5.
Oh, good. I get this. I said 4, and it's only 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is Vegas saying, all right, we're tired of being screwed by the new interim coach coming in and the team playing well for him.
Yeah, that must be it. They must expect.
Listen, I believe in that interim coaching. That'll settle at 3. I think that ends up at 3.
It probably does. But it could work out. Sidney Rice is starting to come back. He was back last week. Favre does not want to go out like he did last week. So, all right, now we have 3 really good games in a row here. Green Bay at Atlanta.
Nice one. That's either 2.5 or 3, and I'm going to say it's 3.
All right, Atlanta. I said 2.5, and I got it exactly. I'm up 5-3, including ties. Yeah,
that's a great game. Yeah, I mean, those Atlanta, Green Bay, and Philly now, I think, have separated themselves.
It's just weird that, everyone's got their power polls in AFC, and you look at, Peter King's top 6 teams, 4 of them are from the NFC now. So
I didn't see that. I was reading his travel note.
You haven't gotten through coffee nerdness yet?
No, he's very upset about the way he was treated at JFK Airport. I forgot to look at the top 15.
Madden bus already, so he doesn't have to. He'd save himself 1,500 words a week.
How about just find a stranger and give the guy $200 to drive you to wherever you need to go?
Yeah, that's not bad either.
I guess you can't expense that.
Jacksonville at the Giants, another good one. Could be a knockout game for one of them.
2 enigmatic teams. Not sure what to make either of these teams. Jacksonville is 6-4, and yet they were blown out, I think, 3 times. And then the Giants, they lost Hakeem Nicks. Mm-hmm. They lost Steve Smith. They did not. I thought they could have lost by 25 last week.
Yeah,
Philly let them hang around, but that game shouldn't have been close. I'm going to say Giants by 6.
Oh, all right, you get this. I went low. I said 4.5. It's actually 7.5.
Because I don't trust the Jags on the road.
That's a little high.
It's a little high, but I like the Jags, though. That could be an upset pick.
Yeah, that could be good. You know who likes the Jags? Our friend Brad in the bar. And when Mojo broke that one run and got tackled at the 1, I mean, he was yelling. He ran. Of course, he runs in front of the screen so no one could see. It's a giant screen. And scream like you've never heard before. And then Mojo gets tackled, and because he has him in his fantasy league, which he won in a close game. But to a point where, and I don't think, tell me if you've ever seen this before, the bartender cut him off from Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's true.
More Mountain Dew.
You're not making that up.
Legitimately upset and concerned that his heart was going to explode, cut him off, no more Mountain Dew. And he really couldn't even argue because he's a maniac.
That story is 100% true. I swear on my kid's life. The bartender, Brad asked for another Mountain Dew, and the bartender expressed her concern and offered some other options.
Yeah.
That's never happened before in the history of bars, ever.
And the Mountain Dew it's not even a thirst issue anymore because he's sucking down one every 8 or 9 minutes,
It's almost like it's on an IV in his arm.
Yeah. Yeah,
he went, the great thing so he ran from one end of the room to the other, and the Mojo run really did last about 9-10 seconds because he was cutting, he was going back and forth. And
I think Brad ran further.
Yeah. And the other part is that nobody has ever cared about suicide pools or fantasy football more than Brad. I mean, it's like we always, it's like in a beer commercial where the guys care too much about fantasy, and you're like, all right, that's a little overboard. Brad is actually the beer commercial.
Yeah.
But he was so
passed out on the couch.
I was going to say it actually took a lot out of him. He ended up lying down on a couch for 10 minutes.
Well, when the bartender refuses to replenish your Mountain Dew, how are you going to re-energize?
I really want to know if that's ever happened before. I'd love if anybody has a friend that's ever been cut off from Mountain Dew, please email me.
Recovering addict can't even get Mountain Dew at a bar. All right, and another great game, Tampa Bay at Baltimore.
That's a great game. I don't think Vegas believes in Tampa yet, so I'm going to say Baltimore by 7.5.
Oh, man, I thought I had it with 6.5. I thought I went high enough, but it is 7.5. Exactly 7.5. You got it.
I was pretty excited about Josh Freeman on Sunday night.
Yeah. I remember. Oh, hold on, let me see if I have that call anywhere here. You did leave a message. Here it is.
I did.
Josh Freeman's the man, and now he's heading into Baltimore to whip some Ravens' tail. And anyone thinks that Baltimore has a shot? Ha! I laugh at you. That's a 173 on the unintentional comedy scale. Josh Freeman is a tour de force, along with like Sty Stallone, Pearl Jam, and Tiny Archibald, all rolled up into one. In fact, that's going to be my new avatar on Twitter. Fast Break on DVD, December 19th.
Yeah. That was like at 3 a.m, too. I was pretty excited.
Oh, you're all over the place. Yeah.
I will say one thing about my Bucks, because I am saying my Bucks now, because I've been the only one really pushing them. That was a lay the smackdown win in San Francisco. I mean, that game was over in a quarter and a half. And and this is stupid, but one of the things I always look for to figure out whether a team's a legitimate like sleeper contender or not, and I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but their sideline was really into it. Mm-hmm. Every time we had that game, somebody was popping somebody, and you could see 10 guys on the sidelines jumping up and down and going crazy. It just seems like that. Maybe they lucked out with that coach. I thought that was a terrible hire, but it seems like that team is all on the same page.
I think the sideline is high on Mountain Dew.
Hey, that could have been that too.
To be honest with you, but yeah, they are good. And I told you that Niners line was crazy, that they're giving 3. That's outrageous. I said Tampa should be giving 3, and the fact that they can't even score at home, just fold it up already, Niners.
It's interesting with that team. They have 2 really good cornerbacks, and they have a quarterback that can make plays. They have a wide receiver, Mike Williams, who always seems to make one big play.
Yeah.
And they have a couple other guys spread around that were, first rounders, and I really don't think that team is bad.
They're not playing as young as they are. They're good. The only thing is Baltimore has a way of making you look bad, and actually they both do the same thing to other teams. So I hope this isn't 6-3 heading into the midway through the fourth.
Because we have Atlanta at 8-2, and we have Tampa at 7-3, and New Orleans at 7-3, I think. Mm-hmm. And everybody just assumes that it's going to be New Orleans as one wild card, and then probably Chicago is going to fall out because their schedule gets tougher, you would think, and then it'll be Philly or the Giants, and if the Giants fall out, then Chicago sneaks in. Yeah. But I'm not willing to concede that NFC South wildcard spot to the Saints yet. I do think the Bucks, who the hell knows?
Yeah, it could be, although I think the Saints, I haven't looked, but it's supposed to be cake the rest of the way. It's supposed to be really easy.
They've had one of those seasons, though, where it's, starting with the Sean Payton, the Vicodins or whatever it was, and then people getting hurt, and this guy gets hurt, and that guy. I'm not totally sold on
I'm not surprised if they lose any of these games, but it is put on a tee for them, I think, the rest of the way.
All right.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Was this your third great game?
No, Tampa, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Giants, and Green Bay, Atlanta. Right. I thought Jacksonville Giants could be good.
We have a Buffalo friend that watches football with us, and it's really sad how I just feel bad for the city of Buffalo and their fans. Because, the amount of pride that he took from the 28-3 comeback.
Right.
so Buffalo could hit their second win. He was really like a proud dad, and it's wow, this team needs to make the playoffs.
And we put it on the big screen. He's got the fact that Gus Johnson does a lot of his games going for him.
Yeah.
Because we like to hear Gus.
We had no good early games, so it was when in doubt, you just put Gus Johnson on the big screen, and then something good will happen, and then and that's what happened. I'm going to say Pittsburgh by 7.5.
All right, I get this one because it's 6.5, and I said 6. And I think this is a game that I'll look at for a half hour, and then after the half hour, I'll be convinced I know exactly who's going to win, and I'll be wrong. But
I have a lot of
right now. I have no idea looking at it.
I have a lot of regrets about the Pittsburgh-Oakland throwing that in the Vegas pool because I've totally forgot about the West Coast playing the 1 o'clock East Coast rule.
Oh yeah.
And then, when these, there's 6 or 7 teams that are better than everybody else. And when one of those teams plays a bad game and loses, they never play another bad game the next week. And I think that's why the line was so high and it seemed too high. But they just been embarrassed by the Pats. They were home. Like, obviously, I'm kicking myself for that pick.
You'll get over it, buddy.
Thank you.
It'll be okay.
Thanks, bud.
All right, Tennessee and Houston's the next game.
Wow, Vince Young just killed that Titans season. He just murdered it. That was a top 6 team.
Yeah, they really were. Jeff Fisher has to. It's so funny that he's like, wow, Jeff Fisher said that he's not their starter anymore. Like, yeah, no kid, of course. That guy who threw shoulder pads and jersey in the crowd, he's no longer our starting quarterback. I'm sorry.
I'm not quitting on the team. I'm quitting on you.
Yeah, right.
It was like had all the right moves.
No. He's not the starter. It's not a matter of ability. It's an equipment issue. We pre-order that stuff, and it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get a new jersey. So,
did Vince Young go to his house that night and dump garbage on it like Tom Cruise?
Unbelievable.
What was it? What's this game again?
Tennessee at Houston.
Oh, and then
I
Houston.
Saw one line from one casino has this lineup. So
Houston, the garbage team of all time. I hate that team.
Well, I mean,
really, they're an embarrassment.
I guess. I just feel...
Fire your coach. You can't do that to your fans. Like, you got to do something. Bench Schaub, fire your coach. Show that the last 2 losses bothered you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Houston.
Maybe the owner's waiting for them to lose to Rusty Smith.
Well, Rusty's a little too involved in this game for my liking, so I'm going to say Houston by 5.5.
Yeah, you get it. I said 3.5, and it's 5.
Rusty threw some passes that, frankly, made me nervous in that game.
I was expecting more of the Rusty Smith, Randy Moss hookup, but
we were laughing. We none of us had heard him, and we Googled him. And where did he go? Florida Atlantic?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was Florida. Florida International, Florida Atlantic.
One of those. And when he was driving to the fourth quarter, somebody made the joke about how he did this all the time at Florida Atlantic. They brought the house down. Rusty Smith. You can't win with that.
Randy Moss. You went from Tom Brady to a broken down Brett Favre and now Rusty Smith. This is what you get.
Well, somebody pointed this out. Maybe it was somebody said this to me. I don't know if it was Aaron Schatz or who, but Moss, even as a decoy, the Vikings should have kept him. Because I don't think he's good anymore. I really do think he might just be washed up. But for some reason, the defenses are still scared of him. Just stand him over there and just have him be a decoy.
I don't know. Right now, if you have a Rusty Smith as your quarterback, you need guys who catch balls, not who are going to run routes and catch balls, right?
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about Minnesota, though.
Oh.
I don't know if I would have cut the cord with him. I'm sorry that he didn't like the caterer's spread, but it's not like that was the good ship lollipop either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, Philly at Chicago. Actually, I'm trying to add up the numbers here. 5, 6, 2, 6. We're tied. This is the last early Sunday game.
I personally, if I was making the lines, I would have Philly favored by 3. But I think Chicago is getting some respect, and I'm going to say that this line is Chicago by 2.5.
All right. Well, maybe you should be making the lines because it is Philly by 3.
Oh.
And I said Philly by 1.5.
Oh, I just thought they were. I thought the Bears might have won people over with.
Well, they do get a ton of respect, right? And the Bears are the flip side of that, I think. Both 7-3. You figure the home team should be favored.
Philly's good. I mean, geez, they really could have just destroyed the Giants in that game, and the Giants really needed it too. You know.
My favorite though is the interview after the game, and I heard this on the ESPN. A few different outlets said like. Mike Vick is so mature now after hearing his interview after the game.
God.
What a mature guy. Everyone's good about how mature he is, yeah.
It's a little racial coding with that.
Yeah. He's a regular Thurston Howell III.
Yeah.
He's drowning dogs wearing an ascot now.
Right.
Very, very mature. But, all right, now late afternoon, Miami at Oakland. So I'm up 1, and I'm not going to say anything. Go ahead, Miami at Oakland.
I'm going to say Oakland by 4.
All right, I hit this on the nose. Oakland by 3.
Tyler Thigpen, Oakland by 3?
They should win. Both teams 5-5. They should win that game.
I'm not giving up on Oakland because they got their asses kicked by a good Pittsburgh team that needed to win after they lost. They're on the East Coast, and they fell behind early, and blah, blah, blah. Like this, they should win this game.
It is weird. Like both these teams, the two of them, couldn't have looked worse last week.
Right.
Combined, right?
But I think the issues for Miami are a lot deeper because they're on their number 3 center. They're on their number 3 quarterback. Marshall's hurt. They got nothing from their running game all year. I mean, the Bears, I thought, dominated that game as much as you. It was never a doubt within 5 minutes who was going to win that game. I don't think they can go in Oakland and win.
Oakland just did a weird thing. They just didn't run. We were talking about why aren't they running the ball here?
Yeah, they kind of panicked. They fell behind, and then it was like, oh, we got to get this back right away. And it did seem like they could run.
Yeah. I mean, we know why Miami doesn't run. They can't. But Oakland should be able to put something together.
We were talking about it. Hench was talking about how stupid fantasy football is. Our friend Tony, who's in our league, built his whole team around the Dolphins' offense, which is a top 5 worst offense, and is somehow in first place.
He's in first place with the least amount of points.
And is still mad that I outbidded Ricky Williams, who hasn't done anything and hasn't started for me once. He still holds it against me that I ruined his dream to have the Dolphins' offense in fantasy.
You should apologize for that.
I should.
Richard Seymour, real quick. I think that moment made the whole signing worthwhile. Him planting Roethlisberger.
Oh, the trade? Yeah.
Great.
Well,
yeah, the trade, yeah.
Why is didn't everybody watch the play? Right? They score a touchdown, and Roethlisberger runs behind him and says something. And Seymour turns around and punches him.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, why would he punch him? And it's like, well, he punched him because Roethlisberger taunted him after he scored a touchdown. Of course he was going to hit him.
And he deserves it anyway. I think Seymour should say, I did it for women everywhere. And then, then the NFL looks like a-holes for finding him, right?
Yeah. He should have played like the I have a relative who was taking advantage of it. And I don't want to be in the field with that guy. Yeah. What would they have said to that? Well,
it's not too late. He should. I hope he's listening.
Yeah.
KC at Seattle.
Ooh.
Battle of the West leaders.
This
squaring off. Look out.
This is also a battle of a team that is only good at home against a team that is only good at home.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that we should take the team that is only good at home in this game.
I have no interest in this game. I don't know what do you mean take them? Are you kidding me?
Seattle by 3.5.
All right. I said Seattle by 1 because Vegas loves Kansas City, and they love them even more than I thought. Kansas City by 1.
Oof.
I mean, they're better, right? They're the better team.
I just don't think they're a good road team.
I wouldn't take them on the road.
I like Seattle.
Dumb game.
Also, Week 12, Thanksgiving week, is the week when the home teams start kind of taking over a little bit. Mm-hmm. Perennially. Who knows what it'll hold this year. But
yeah. All right, speaking of taking over, I'm up 9-6. St. Louis at Denver. Broncos blow them out, right? That only makes sense now.
They suck. Denver by 3.5.
Yeah, lousy afternoon game so far. You get that one. I said 5, and it's 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I like St. Louis.
9-7. Here's where you make your comeback, right?
Yep.
This is where I'm going to go crazy. You have to win the next 2 to tie. San Diego at Indy.
Ooh. Boy, the Chargers love playing in Indy. They love playing Indy, period. This is interesting. So Indy, if they lose this, could be 7-4?
This is Sunday night, yep. They'll be no. Indy is 6-4 now, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is very interesting.
Jags are probably going to lose. So.
Yeah, but to fall to 6-5, I like San Diego every time they play Indy. It just seems
really?
Like they have the history. They've always played Indy well.
Right? It's the quarterback doing well with nothing around him.
Always play them well. I'm going to say Indy by 3.5.
All right. See, this aggravates me now. You come back from it. I said 4, and it's 3. Only 3.
I almost said 3. I like San Diego. I think that line settles at 3.5, and I like San Diego. And I'll also say, I think the Colts are too banged up. I mean, I know they.
What if Manning doesn't get his side hit there and they score? Like everyone is so down on the Colts this week.
The Pats dominated that game. The first 3 quarters, they did whatever they wanted. They really, they had a 1st and goal from the 10 when they got the field goal to stretch it to 31 points. Mm-hmm. But I just thought they dominated. They did anything they wanted to do offensively. And if Rivers Rivers should be able to move the ball against
I don't know, man. Maybe San Diego even wins this game. But anyone who makes you could not put Indy in your top 5. I mean, you're lying if you say you want your team to play Indy in the playoffs.
No, I don't. I don't want to play Manning.
Out. They're going to be tough no matter what.
I agree.
All right, well, this is it. You get this, you tie, and I have a feeling you're going to get it. San Francisco at Arizona, Monday night, ESPN. I don't know if you have a job after this. This is a really bad game.
That's a bad one.
They can't flex it out for spelling bee or anything?
I'm going to say Arizona by 2.5.
All right. I said Arizona by 3. San Francisco by 1.
Oh.
So we tie again. That's our 4th tie of the year.
We just keep making out with our sisters.
Yeah.
So what are we overall now? So
you're up 6-2 and 4 ties through 12 weeks. How did I not win that? I'm up 3 with 3 games left.
I rally back like Phil Rivers.
That's a terrible game, by the way.
Why does San Fran keep getting respect?
Yeah, Vegas has a love affair with them.
They're terrible. It's a terrible football team.
Before last Sunday, San Fran was still favored to win the NFC West. They were a game and a half or 2 games back and still favored.
Jeez. All right, plug Jimmy Kimmel Live.
All right, we have Dominic Monaghan tonight. We have the Dancing with the Stars winner, which better be Jennifer Grey. I have her at 7-2 odds. So not the manliest thing betting on dancing, but I'll take it if she wins.
I blame you for not seeing this Bristol Palin thing.
What do you mean?
Not realizing that the Tea Party was going to just win her the Dance with the Stars crown. And
I know, but they got together and they gave her like a terrible score. They gave her like a 52, and Gray had a 60. So I don't know how many votes it's going to take to make it up, but I mean, you would have to call 10 times.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm on the edge of my seat. No, I could care less. I love that there's controversy, though. And then, I mean, it's always a good thing for a show when there's controversy, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh, this is we got to change the rules. It's like, oh, come on, you guys love this. Who are you kidding?
Lions upset or?
No.
Say that.
Don't. No. The Pats should take care of business. Come on.
All right. And I don't think we have a third team on our 3-team teaser if we were to get one. Jets, Cleveland.
Well, let's talk about that off the air.
Oh, all right. I got you.
Yeah, all right. All right, Cousin Sal, enjoy the holidays,
buddy. All right, Billy, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, buddy.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
That concludes another episode of the B.S. Report, and we leave you with this final thought. Subway Restaurants is cheering on Jared. As if losing almost 250 pounds wasn't enough, Jared has run 552 miles training for the 2010 ING New York City Marathon. He fuels his training with the low-fat Subway Club. So now, to celebrate this landmark achievement, the Subway Club is the newest $5 footlong sub for a limited time, so hurry in. And hey, Jared, what's next? Scaling Everest? Maybe kayaking the Pacific? Subway. Eat fresh.